You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe you're good-looking, you're always looking for and finding the good. That's why you tune in consciously and conscientiously to The Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore, because you know that on this show, we discuss the three fundamentals of life. And when you use these three fundamentals of life, you become happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? That's why you tuned in. You tuned in because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. And that's great because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. Now, at the moment, you are being joined by approximately 418,613 people around the world. And by the time we bring on our amazing guest today, one of the four Harmon Brothers, how's that for a little tweak of your insight? So who's that? Before we bring on Jeff Harmon, I'm going to urge everybody to make sure that you understand that these three fundamentals are going to make the difference in your life. And here's how. Because the first fundamental of life is life, your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. In this case, a good number two. You go MAD. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym. It stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example. Right now, this show is being carried around the world over the internet. If you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, they'll tell you it has to do with the internet. Now, factually speaking, they're correct. However, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? W-H-E-T-A. And of course, a tip of the hat and a big thank you to Louis Armstrong Satchmo for enabling this song, What a Wonderful World, to go viral and not just touch tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. Because whenever you hear the opening part of What a Wonderful World, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you can ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, I got to tell you, I'm privileged to be able to speak here to millions of people around the world on a regular basis. And I do a lot of in-person appearances. Recently, I spoke to a group of 1,127 people. I'm telling the story about Barry Shore and talk about miracles, seeing miracles in life every day. Some people raise their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours already. I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water to drink? Do you have food to eat? A place to sleep? Do you have family? You have friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. What's the proof? Simple as proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you did, if you're watching or you're listening, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full. Let me tell you a quick story. It's about me. Imagine, if you can, I'm standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And that evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed from my neck down. Nothing in my body moved. I can only communicate by blinking my eyes. And it was not an automobile accident. It wasn't a spinal injury. It was a rare disease, which I never heard of the day before. It took over my body and rendered me what's called a quadriplegic. Nothing in the body moved. I was in the hospital 144 days. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't move. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, from my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. Can't walk up a stair by myself. Can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant because of one word. And this word is smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. I got to tell you a quick story, a cute story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her how come. She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a fabulous acronym. It stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. We're going to do a lot of rethinking in the next few minutes with our amazing guest, Jeffrey Harmon. I want to urge everybody, it's really about a small shift in perspective. Now, I've been working with people for more than 4.5 decades, and I can tell you 97.2% of all the people I begin working with, they drop the F in shift, and the other stuff happens. That's why you got to be effing careful with your Fs. You want to shift your perspective just a little bit, and now you can internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. And these are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. That's right. Choice, how you choose to respond in any given situation will determine your path in life and the trajectory. Now, before we bring on amazing Jeffrey Harmon and what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about movies. And we're going to talk about real life stuff that's going to make a difference in the world. I want everybody to know that I do use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word. I'm telling Jeffrey in advance, and I do it because of the shock value and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant, are love, life, hope, play, pray, free, gift, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, that's right. F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, you have a twinkle in your eye, a smile on your face, punch your fingers, say, F-U, everybody. Remember to add capital N, capital N. So where'd you get that? So listen to Barry Shore, and he wants to teach the world to F-U. Capital N, capital N. You got their attention, and now you can discuss with them all the amazing things we're going to be learning today. It's really fabulous. So before we bring on Jeffrey and we talk about movies, I urge everybody to learn to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from now and the rest of your life. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, be kind always. KIND is a fabulous acronym. It stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody that I want to share with you that inspires noble deeds more than the wonderful, amazing brother, Jeffrey Harmon. Jeffrey, please say hello to 427,819 people around the world.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
He did that purposely. He likes being low key because it's in tune with what he and his siblings do, which is to rip open your mind and your heart and make an impression for the good. That's really what they're all about. The ability to produce cinematic ideas that will touch your very being. That's his great skill. And of course, he learned it in the potato fields of Idaho where he grew up. So let's just jump right in. And first of all, I'll tell everybody, Jeffrey is the CEO, one of the co-founders of something called Angel Studios. Now, if you're not familiar with Angel Studios, I want you to Google it. Everything you want to know about Jeffrey and Angel Studios and what they do and what is happening, just go to the show notes. Just lean in. Experience this. Don't write down notes. Just experience this, because what a pleasure to have you here with us, Jeffrey. Let's just jump right in and talk about a little bit about Angel Studios from the point of view of you and your brothers, 4 brothers, from the perspective of being raised, of course, in a family that was very creative, that made movies and did all kinds of things and was very involved with Hollywood all the time. And now I say, not.
Yeah. I come from a family of 9 kids. I'm the middle of 9. I'm co-founder of Angel Studios. And we grew up in Idaho. Our nearest neighbor was a quarter mile away. I watched a half dozen movies in theaters in the dollar show only because we couldn't afford full price movie tickets. We had 3 TV stations. So we're very unlikely people to become executives and founders of a studio that last year was top 10 in the number 8 in the box office ahead of MGM and AMC. in the United States box office. And so it's an unlikely thing for us to do that. But we understand there's a concept, culture is upstream from politics.
Wait a minute. I just want to pause everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. This is inside baseball stuff. So I'm an Andrew Breitbart aficionado, and that is Andrew's calling card. So by the way, don't look it up while you're doing this experiment. Andrew Breitbart, but we'll talk more. I want you to repeat it again because it's so real.
Yeah. So culture is upstream from politics. And so as you watch the world melting down around politics right now, there's a lot of heat. We're coming up on an election in a few weeks. If you look upstream and you actually change the media, then you can change the culture. And we have kids. I have 6 kids, and my brothers have kids. And our family, we're a large family. We believe in big families, and our family is helping fight the population collapse. That's it's part of our job. But the idea was, if we can't trust media, and you can't just making the movies probably not enough, because a lot of people are making decent movies. There's a saying in the advertising world, which is where we come from, we come from the potato world and the advertising world. And in the advertising world, we have a saying that I would say regularly is, content is king. So what you make in your ads is king, but distribution is queen, and she wears the pants. And so if you're going to change culture, you have to figure out how to distribute the content. And that's what we set out to do, is to figure out how to take the great filmmakers of the world right now, which have been trained up and they're ready to bring amazing stories to the world that are every bit as good as anything Hollywood's producing, and take those messages and get them out to the world, to hundreds of millions of people.
So I want to emphasize again, some of you said, because the D word is really the key to making an impression. And that's really what movies are about, making an impression, something that is long lasting. Distribution. So most people, if they study this at all, know, or at least they think we know, that let's say whatever the budget is for a film, 1/3 of it is for production, 2/3 of it is for distribution, or the advertising over it, et cetera, et cetera. It's far more important that the content is distributed, as you said. No, I want to
just some interesting stats on that. Like, Eduardo Verástegui said, he's the producer of Sound of Freedom, and he said that 80% of independent movies, so movies that are made by somebody who gets wealthy, they know a filmmaker and they say, hey, I want to make this story. They make their own movie outside of the Hollywood system. 80% of those movies never find a home. They're just sitting. And that's been the case for decades. And so that's what it means to have a great story without distribution. Sound of Freedom was sitting for 8 years before Angel Studios got it. The movie we just released, Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot, was produced 5 years ago. So there's these processes that are where these filmmakers make films that they want to reach the world, but 80% of them never find a home. And so that's the key of distribution.
I want to make an analogy, agree with it or not. We're in the year 2024, according to the current calendar system. 100 years ago, it was 1924. Okay. Well, what's the big deal? 1924 was one of the peak years. I think actually the peak year was 1927 or 28, just before talkies, of what's called silent movies, silent films. Yeah. And it revolutionized the world. People laugh today that people went to a movie with no sound and actors weren't speaking and they had pianos playing. It's how do you even conceive of that? The reality is, though, that this made a shift in the world, because media for the first time was touching not just a small group of people, it was touching everyone. Media is everything. It's everything, as you said, and Andrew Breitbart said as well. And to me, it was the time, because I studied it a little bit, it was the time of the independent filmmakers before the studios became studios and things were happening. And people were grinding out these little shorts, whether they were 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, was just interminably long. And it looks like we're in that place again with, in quotation marks, more sophisticated equipment. And yet the reality is still the Nickelodeons that are popping up, the ability to distribute, whether it's called streaming, movie theaters, whatever the issue. To me, it's analogous. We're in the new frontier. We
are in a totally new space, and there's a whole new category called influencers, which is the YouTube world. And YouTube, I mean, they're gigantic. They paid out in the last 3 years $100 billion to filmmakers. That's how big the industry. And the TV industry is $700 billion a year, and the movie industry is $50 billion a year. Like theatrical industry is $50 billion a year. But if you look at the different culture, the different areas, theatrical movies dictate the conversation. Even though they're $50 billion a year, and these other ones are much bigger, like TV is $700 billion a year worldwide. That $50 billion dictates the conversation. And you can see this with a movie like Sound of Freedom. That movie goes huge in the box office, becomes number one, does $250 million worldwide. And it becomes one of the most talked about subjects, and laws are changed all over the world, Sound of Freedom laws around this because of this movie's inspiration. It's made a huge difference. And so, but here's the problem. Similar to what's happening in the legacy news industry, where Elon Musk said recently, he said there are a half dozen editors of newspapers that dictate almost all of the conversation in the media space. They decide what is talked about each day in the news and in politics. And he said that has to stop. We have to get rid of those. We have to replace those gatekeepers. And he's trying to replace those gatekeepers with a more democratic system on Twitter or X. What we see is in Hollywood, it has a very similar problem. There's a couple dozen people in Hollywood that live in a bubble that make, and everybody around them looks like them and feels like them, you know, and so they take their worldview and they dictate 95+% of the global box office revenue stories. The stories that generate all that box office are dictated by this tiny group of gatekeepers. And so that's what we're trying to solve at Angel Studios. Is we're saying we don't, like Walt Disney, it was the Disney brothers who were sons of a pastor, and they built a great company. And then now, less than 100 years later, that company is a very different place than they would recognize. And so our job is not to become the new gatekeepers. That's one of our big concerns. And as the chief content officer of Angel Studios, we're trying to make it to where we don't just replace the Hollywood gatekeepers with the Harmon Brother gatekeepers. Right. Because in 100 years or less, the same thing is going to happen to our company if we just become the gatekeeper. So we got to change the system, and so that's what we're working on.
Okay, so this is you heard it here first, because again, we're talking to hundreds of thousands of people around the world, and I ask every time, just share this with 5 people. You want to share with 50 or 100, great, you get excited, but just 5. That way we can touch 2+ million people. So we're going to do something. We have sponsors that love us, and we vet people that come on the show. We wouldn't have them if we didn't think they're worthy of your time and attention. We're going to take a quick break because Jeffrey's going to tell us how we can democratize this process of gatekeepers so that you become the gatekeepers. Wow. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this brief message.
Hello, skincare connoisseurs. If you think you have tried everything in skincare, you are going to love what I am about to tell you. I'm pharmacist Benjamin I. Fuchs. I'm a dermatology pharmacist. And what I've discovered in my compounding pharmacy after decades of working with patients with skin traumas and skin diseases is the missing link in skincare is topical essential nutrition. And because of this missing link, we're not maximizing the potential of topical skincare. We're leaving skin beauty and skin health on the table. And that's why I formulated my Truth Treatments. Listen, the skin's an organ. It needs and wants and craves nutrients, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, and plant-derived minerals, and now it can get them in super high concentrations in my Truth Treatments. Originally formulated for dermatologists and their patients, now they're available to you. Check them out today at truthtreatments.com, and I know you are going to love the truth.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe you're good-looking, so always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. His name is Jeffrey Harmon. He's one of the Harmon Brothers, and they are responsible for bringing forth into the world in the distribution, because they understand the genius of the queen wearing pants and distribution, of bringing forth content that will benefit you, that will help you, that will help shape your world into a positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant way. So we're just talking about the Disney brothers and how after 100 years that process went away of the people that wanted to do something good in the world, and now it's a cabal, either knowingly or not, took over, and those are the gatekeepers. And what we want to do is democratize the process. So you've identified the issue, Jeffrey. So let's talk about solutions, because that's basically what you're about. You're solution-oriented people. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah. We're like when we decided to start Angel Studios, we had a list of problems to solve. My brothers and I had a list of problems. We're entrepreneurs, and we were like, which problem do we want to solve? We had just come from the world of an ad agency, and we had also co-founded a company that helped solve bad breath with a tongue cleaner. And so, like, these are problems to solve. And so
actually, I want to interrupt you and put you on just because it's fun. I love dropping some of the names. When you were Harmon Brothers advertising agency, which I assume still exists, some of the most wonderful ads were produced. The creativity with them and the distribution, because you touched tens and tens and tens of millions of people. So there are a couple that I remember specifically, and again, just look in the show notes, you should look them up. But one of them was about putting a raw egg under a mattress.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The purple mattress, we would take eggs, put them on a 300-pound piece of glass, just glue the eggs to the bottom of the glass, and then you drop it from 4 feet or 3 feet or something onto a bed. And if the bed breaks the eggs, then your mattress isn't any good. That was the idea. And purple mattresses never broke the eggs. So that was...
All right. So that's for sleeping. Then there's another one which I was fascinated by, because I met the owner of this particular product in Dallas at a conference called Conscious Capitalism. And she created a product called Poopery.
Oh yeah. 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 We did the Poopery commercials with the British girl in the bathroom stall pitching a product around making it so that the poop doesn't smell. Yeah.
Right.
That was a big one. It was very viral. Yeah. So that was our world before, doing Poopery, Squatty Potty, Purple Mattress, Lumi deodorant, Aura Brush, all these big turning really great products into household names. And so we were trying to figure out what our next business was going to be. And we were looking at the list, and one of the most meaningful things we felt like we could do was to build a system that changes media and changes culture. And so we dug into that. And as we've done it, it's evolved. It evolved from, like, it started out kind of this idea that that we could, initially I was like, oh, maybe we'll just like make a system. So the beginning of the system it's called VidAngel, and it would skip and mute words in movies. And we were just thinking, you can watch anything you want. The tagline for VidAngel was "Watch however the bleep you want," and so you could skip out rape scenes in Game of Thrones if you had a teenager that wanted to watch Game of Thrones, or you could, like different movies, you could skip and mute the inappropriate scenes for your family. And so that was the beginning, but we knew that it was important that we made content And so we came up with a term, several words that represent what we call amplifying light. We want movies that amplify light, not nihilistic stuff, not, there's demonic, there's nihilism in Hollywood. And so we define light as anything that is true, honest, noble, just, authentic, lovely, admirable, and excellent. That's how we define light. And so then we take it and we said, all right, well, how do we make it so that we don't have a gatekeeper system the way that Hollywood is, a corruptible gatekeeper system? So we built a system of governance called the Angel Guild. And if you go on your phone and you download the Angel app, you can get get the Angel Guild, and you can join 440,000 people from around the world in 155 countries that are part of this community and effort to be the gatekeepers.
So I want to put you on pause for a moment, because this is what we call an axe in the head. This is not just your regular saying, hey, well, let's just go to this app. Do you hear this, everybody? By getting involved with this app, which is free, you now have a voice. You have a voice in what media will be what will be seen by millions, tens of millions, billions of people around the planet. What an amazing, first of all, just the idea. Listen to what you said. And this is driven again by amplifying life. Amplifying
light. Light is what we say.
Light, right.
Yeah. So the concept is around those words: honest, true, noble, just, authentic, lovely, admirable, and excellent. But to give a shorter term to it, we just say, does this amplify light? And so if you download the app, you can get on and you can watch, like right here, you can, you probably can't see this very well, but you're just watching like a short film, and then you get a vote on it. And it says, does this amplify light? And you say yes, no, or neutral. How would you feel if this never became an Angel Studios movie? Very disappointed, somewhat disappointed, not disappointed. It's not that good. And then you just vote on it. Then you give feedback to the filmmaker, and then you move on to the next one. And so you just go through, and last year we had 900 and something films submitted from April to April. This year it'll be a lot more than that. And filmmakers are submitting their films, and then they get feedback and they improve these films. And we started out with The Chosen, and then we did Dry Bar Comedy, then we did The Chosen, then we did Tuttle Twins, then we did Sound of Freedom, and we did His Only Son. And it's starting to really accelerate. If you look at the one comparison I thought was, because a lot of people say, well, you how are you going to ever compete with the big studios? And the speed at which movies and TV shows are coming out on Angel are ever increasing. So SpaceX, if you look back at SpaceX, they launched one rocket in like 2015, and then they launch another one 2 years later, and then they skip a few years, and then they launch another one, etc. And similar, we launch one series 1 year, and then now we're launching stuff every 2 weeks. And eventually it will be, it's exponentially growing, the speed at which we're launching, because the Angel Guild is going through hundreds and hundreds of films, voting on them. And these 440,000 people get on, they vote. And as the chief content officer of Angel Studios, I can't take a project into Angel Studios unless the Angel Guild first passes it. We can't even consider a project unless it's first passed by the Angel Guild. So it is a governance system.
So let me put you on pause. Let's talk about Sound of Freedom, because let's be blunt. Those of you who have not experienced, I didn't say see, who have not experienced Sound of Freedom, you are missing something. I can tell you something, Jeffrey Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
The movie stayed with me deeply for about 3.5, 4 months. I was on the phone and making texts to a number of people who wanting to interview people for my podcast who were stars of Sound of Freedom. I was so moved by it, not cinematically.
Yep.
And not even just the story. It was everything. It was truly an experience. And the fact that it grossed over $250 million, which is $250 million, is a tribute to of human beings. It's a tribute to the human condition. And I would just like to shift a little bit of what you said And right now, and yes, how do you compete with the big Hollywood studios? And the real question they're saying, but they're not explaining it, is how do the big studios compete with you?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have to get there. I do think we've cracked the nut. I think we've cracked the nut on content that is safe for families to watch. And I think the Angel Studios is going to get bigger and bigger. And eventually the guild's going to be 1 million people. Then it'll be 2 million people. Then it'll be 5 million people. And every person, like when you join the Angel Guild, you actually get 2 movie tickets to every single movie to go watch it in the theaters. And so it's like a movie pass for Angel Studios. For stuff that the guild passes, you have a movie pass to it and you get to watch them all. And this year we did 5 movie releases. Next year it probably will be around 8 movie releases. And then eventually we'll probably have 12 movie releases a year. So you'll have 2 tickets every single month for a date night to go to a movie that the Angel Guild passed. And it is not easy to pass. Like Sound of Freedom, so there's a concept of early access inside of Hollywood. You get to watch a movie before other people watch the movie. What you get in the Angel Guild is you actually get to screen the movies super early, often in their rough cuts. Like the guild members got to see a version of Sound of Freedom that wasn't even the final cut. It ended up being 4.5 minutes shorter because of guild feedback than the movie that launched in the theaters was 4.5 minutes shorter. And this is a common thing. You got to see Cabrini months and months in advance if you're a guild member, or at least you had a chance of seeing it. Not everybody sees every single one. There's hundreds of pieces of content coming through, but you get to see these movies long before, and you get to give feedback to the directors. And then the director actually, when they read your feedback, you get to see, oh, the director read my feedback. And then the director can comment back to you. So you're actually, in my family, I have 6 kids. And when they're watching too much screen time, I say, hey, kids, Harmons live on the other side of the screen. We live on the creation side of the screen, not the consumption side. And the whole idea of Angel Studios is to bring people to the other side of the screen. We want guild members to be able to experience the creation side of the process, not just the consumption side. And this is a legit, like, people have a desire for this. There's already 440,000 guild members. I think when I spoke at that conference, it was like just over 400,000. So just the weeks since we've been at that conference that we met Barry, it's added 40,000 guild members. But these people are in there because they want to participate. They want to influence culture, but they also enjoy helping make the films. It's fun to give feedback. It's like, Lego. Somebody told me, somebody asked, well, you just got people to pay to do your work. Normally in Hollywood, there's a big group of people who watch all the movies and then they're deciding which ones go through. And I said, no, they're not paying to do work. They're paying to have fun. Filmmakers make movies because it's fun.
Oh, F you. Remember, Jeffrey, F you. Capital N, capital N.
Yes. Yeah, we get in the film space because it's fun to tell stories. Telling stories is such an old concept. It used to be sitting around fires, telling stories from thousands of years old stories that you're telling to each other. And so people are joining the guild because it's fun to give feedback to the directors, to watch the content early, to get these sneak peeks, to see it develop. And so you get to live on the other side of the screen as an Angel Guild member and get super early access. Then you actually get early access. You get to watch it in theaters with movie tickets. And so it's this experience of changing culture together. And not every single major studio I know of, every single one, has huge AI teams that are trying to figure out how to use AI, and they go through the history of movies and they put AI on it and they try to figure out which scripts were successful in the theaters. And then the AI tries to find out what elements of your script are working. And then they try to take which movies and what elements, and the AI is watching it, trying to figure out with these algorithms, trying to figure out how to make a machine tell us which movies are going to be successful. And what we do, one investor called it, he said, it's audience intelligence. So instead of AI, we're doing audience intelligence, where the 400,000 guild members and eventually millions of guild members are getting together, and we're just bringing in the wisdom of the Angel Guild, and it will outperform AI because it's the real people who are consuming the product.
I am as a lover of the world and people and technology, I applaud AI. What I prefer is HI, human intelligence.
Yeah, audience
Human
intelligence.
intelligence will always trump, okay, that's my political stuff, will always trump artificial intelligence, no matter how good it will get. And by the way, it will get better and better. You can do formulaic things.
Yep.
However, when you work with people and you get the response of human beings, there is nothing more visceral, there's nothing more real than someone saying to you, well, no, I don't like that. Or, yes, please, can I have some more of that?
Yeah, there are a lot of filmmakers and artists that are very worried about AI. I have a different view on that. I see AI as a tool. We use AI for all kinds of stuff in our company to help to speed things up, speed up the creative process.
Right.
But what if you look at it closely, AI is doing robotic things. It's doing stuff that robots do. And as humans, we're children of God. And God created the universe. And there is no reason why the people who believe in the creator of the universe should not be the greatest creators of art. That is the way it should work. And that's Angel's goal, is that we're going to enable a group and a generation of people that can move into the art world and change culture without losing their souls, without having to go bow to the system.
Mammon.
Yeah, bow to mammon, and actually change the world through art without risking, like, being in an environment where it's a wholesome environment and it actually improves your testimony of God or your faith in God. And
okay, that I word is so important, by the way, to improve. I mean, part of the genius of art, and specifically, let's be blunt, with film, because film is so evocative, is to create that bond between humans and recognize that we do have a soul, and that it can be uplifted and can be touched, and you can and then you willingly share that.
Well, and if you look at stories relating to AI, if you look at all the greatest stories ever told, if you look at the greatest art pieces, you look at the greatest paintings, you look at the greatest poems, the paintings that reach deep into people's souls and touch them, or poetry that reaches deep into your soul across humanity and touches people and withstands the test of time. Those poems, those stories, and those films come from artists who have suffered a lot and they've experienced a lot of sorrow. It comes from deep sorrow in the soul. You look at the greatest biblical stories, it comes from deep sorrow. And this is the reason why AI will always be a derivative of human stories. They can tell a story that feels like, you look at it on the surface, it looks like, oh, that feels very similar to a human poem. But unless an AI can experience pain and suffering and sorrow, which, if you go back to biblical world, the Judeo-Christian world, then you've got the Garden of Eden. And when they partake of the fruit, they're able to experience pain and sorrow. That's what makes us human. And unless an AI can experience pain and sorrow, they will never be able to create the art that will transcend time. They can only be derivative of that art. And so I think that humanity is part of being human is being able to experience pain and sorrow. And that's how we experience so much joy. And that art is a product of that element of being a child of God and his children, to be able to create such amazing art.
I want to unpack a few things here, because you're touching on the very soul of what I was hoping we'd be discussing. So you mentioned, I love acronyms, and they allow people to think and put hooks onto things. So you're talking about being a cog. People think of a cog as a small piece in a big machine, and what's the difference? One little cog. Well, as you just said, a cog stands for child of God. There is no one piece that can be missing. Everybody's needed. is also
Yes.
a cog, is a channel of goodness. That's what Angel Studio is about. You're a channel of goodness. Now, while we were doing during the break we had last time, I came up with an acronym for your name, and it touches on some of what you. Can I tell you what your acronym is?
Sure. Yeah.
JEFF. Joyful enthusiasm fosters fun.
Thank you. That's fun.
Because that's what we're talking about here. The ability to touch the human experience ranges like the emotions of suffering, of sorrow,
Yeah.
of joy, of happiness, of peace and
And
love.
Joy and happiness and peace you're not able to understand them until you experience sorrow.
Right. They don't come because you put a nickel in the Nickelodeon and a smile comes out. It's on the contrary. It's emotive. It is, and that's why I'm so glad that you're talking about this idea of AI as a derivative of HI, of the human experience. Just as we'll do one right now. As I said, we have sponsors that love us. We would not have these sponsors on unless we thought they were worthy of your time. It's not poopery. Your stuff still smells, but it's okay. We'll get it better. We'll be right back after this brief message with more Jeffrey Harmon. Don't go away. Opportunity. What an opportunity. I'm going to use 2 4-letter words right now. Free gift. Free gift. Yes. You can have a copy of my best-selling book, The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy, the ebook version for absolutely free. All you have to do is send an email to me, Barry, Barry, at barryshore.com, and in the heading, the subject line, just write, free gift. It's as easy as that. This is a life-changing, life-enhancing opportunity. Barry at barryshore.com. You'll be glad you did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Free gift. Do it now. Take the action. Make it happen right now. Best wishes. Bye. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe good-looking, so always looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance. His name is Jeffrey Harmon. He's one of the Harmon Brothers. He's one of the co-founders of Angel Studios, and everything they do is about amplifying light. And they've democratized the process of bringing film and media to the world, because again, distribution is the key. Content is king, as he said so wonderfully. Distribution is queen, and she wears pants. You need to be able to get it out into the world. So everybody is urged to make sure you download Angel Guild app and use it, because it's to your advantage. You are contributing to amplifying light in the world. Hello. If somebody says, what'd you learn today? I'm an amplifier of light. Thank you, Jeffrey. We love it. So let's just talk. We touched on how what AI is going to be doing in the future of filmmaking and studios. I want to point to a particular film that I can't stop thinking about. And again, usually I don't do a date on this. This is being made, well, we're recording this now in October of 2024. By the time this comes out, it might be after the election, and will probably be before the release of one of the most remarkably interesting, powerful pieces of media that I've experienced just by seeing the trailers. And the name of the movie is called Bonhoeffer. Now, if you're not familiar with the name, Bonhoeffer. Again, everything you want to know about Angel Studios and Jeffrey.
You go to angel.com/Thanksgiving. It comes out of Thanksgiving. If you have a hard time spelling Bonhoeffer, angel.com/Thanksgiving. and you can get tickets to Bonhoeffer right now. The tickets are on sale.
Yeah, and they discounted because you got them early. I'm telling you, I can every time I see one of the little ads for or the part of the trailer, and I'm looking at people's comments, and I made a note of it to myself. I'm going to send you just one of them because I see it recurring, and say I can't wait to see this movie. Now, why do I say this to you, Jeffrey? Because that's what used to happen when I was younger. So I'm 75 chronologically, so I can speak about this in terms of many decades. When I was much younger, we didn't go to the movies often either, just because of stuff. However, there was an anticipation of something that was good, that was interesting, that would move you, that would challenge you. that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that wonderful to be challenged? And okay, it's nice and every once in a while you just want to laugh and such, which you do as well. The ability to touch the human being with that great sorrow and suffering and arise in joy, that's the story of life. So tell us about Bonhoeffer a little bit, if you would. Obviously, it got recommended by the Guild.
Yeah, so Bonhoeffer is called Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Spy, Assassin. He's very famous. He is a pastor that fought against Hitler. Came from a very, very prominent family, and he turned on Hitler, and he became part of an assassination plot to take down Hitler. And it is the story, like, it puts you in the shoes and puts you in this position where you say, what would I have done? Could I have done what he did? Is what he did appropriate? And we're getting some heat in the media already for taking, like, people saying you are making Bonhoeffer there's some heat coming around the concept of using the word assassin, because there's just been a couple of assassination attempts. Now, this is historical. We don't tie it to that. This is a historical movie. It happens to be very timely in the way that it's released and when it's released, but that wasn't intentional. That's just the divine providence. But Bonhoeffer, he saw what was happening in Germany, and he stood up against Hitler, and he spoke from the pulpit against Hitler. And there are a lot of similarities. Like, anti-Semitism today is sky high. And in fact, if you are, somebody was throwing around the idea the other day. They said, well, let's just give free tickets to all the anti-Semites.
Wait a minute.
If you're an anti-Semite, if you're stupid enough to hate Jews for being Jews, we'll give you a free ticket to our movie. Go to angel.com/free tickets, and you can get a free ticket if you need to learn about how bad anti-Semitism is. Or you can go to angel.com/Thanksgiving, and you can buy the tickets. I hope that's the way you need to get them.
To be able to find the humor in such darkness is quite remarkable. It's a powerful passion play. That's really what this is.
Yes, it is. We have another movie coming out that will be announced soon that's around this era as well. And the Guild, what's interesting about the Angel Guild is that the timeliness of the things that they're voting for is very, like, that Bonhoeffer's coming out right now. We got another one coming out next year around similar issues and anti-Semitism. That the Guild wants a movie called David. It's an animated musical around David. That these movies are coming out at the same time as we are seeing an astronomical rise in anti-Semitism worldwide. Seems it's amazing to watch the wisdom of the Guild.
I love that, the wisdom of the Guild, because we do trust that people want to do the right thing. More people want to bring light. They want to, as you said, amplify light.
Yep.
There is nothing greater in this world. I mean, that's who we are. We are torch bearers. We are the bringers of light. That is our raison d'etre. That's our purpose of being in the world. I'm going to shock you with something, Jeffrey. You ready to be shocked?
Yeah.
I'm going to call you a porn star. Now, what? Okay, Barry, what does that mean? It's an acronym. Porn star, power of related narrative, stories that arouse response.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought it would leave you speechless for at least 38 seconds.
Yeah, I do believe that we have cracked the nut And that as the Angel Guild grows and as we build this movement, the reason why Angel Studios is called Angel Studios is because we had 8,000 people in 2016. 8,000 people came together and crowdfunded Angel Studios. And in particular, at a moment when Disney and Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox were suing us, and they crowdfunded our effort. And I'm not going to go dive into that. You can find lots of articles online about that or podcasts. But the crowd came to our rescue, and they invested $10 million in a 5-day period. 8,000 families from all over the country and all over the world came together and invested to make this studio exist. And so we learned about where the Broadway, when it started, the term angel investors emerged from Broadway. And angel investors were people who invested in Broadway musicals to bring them to life. Angel investors has now become a terminology for like startups. That's where it's popular these days. But the original concept of an angel investor comes from the art world. And so we wanted Angel Studios to be named after that group of people and after the people who saved us, the angel investors who came in and invested that money. And so the concept of allowing filmmakers to come in with one box, amplify light, whatever is true, honest, noble, just, authentic, lovely, admirable, and excellent. That's their box. And it's that box as dictated by hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world. And eventually millions. So that every single person, when they answer the question, does this project amplify light? And they have that definition, then their entire life experience of millions of hours of living, of having their families, of knowing what amplify light means to them, goes into that simple vote. They just cast the vote, but that entire life experience is going into that vote. And then you multiply that by hundreds of thousands of people, and you get a wisdom that comes out of that group that produces and decides on content like Sound of Freedom, and decides on content like Cabrini, and decides on content like Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Spy, Assassin. Or in Christmas time, there's a movie coming out called Homestead. And you can also get tickets to that one. It's angel.com/homestead. And we actually have a Homestead giveaway. That's angel.com/homestead giveaway, I believe is the URL. And in that, they're actually we're giving away an entire homestead, like to go, that has a little tiny home and like a vehicle and all the stuff from the movie to like make a survival thing. So Homestead's about this, it's a fictional story about the end of the world, where not necessarily the end of the world, but the end of current, the way the world is, where there's a nuclear attack and the power's out. And this group of people are prepared and they've been prepping. And the question is lots of people have been prepping for like a big catastrophic event. But what happens when a catastrophic event actually happens? When all your neighbors that you've known your entire life come to your door and you can't save them all, who do you save? And that's what this movie's about. And that's coming out at Christmas on December 20th, I think, is the release date. And you can go to angel.com/homestead to get early tickets. Before there's even seats, you get discounts to buy those tickets.
This is so enlightening and wonderful and uplifting and positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Thank you, Jeffrey. I'm loath to say these words. We're coming to a close of our time together. So I have 3 questions for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Number 1, will you come back again?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Number 2, Jeffrey Harmon. I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it directly from you. You have 80 seconds to answer this question. What is your most fervent desire?
I want my kids. I have two goals as a father. As one, that my kids can know how to speak with God, that they can speak freely with God, and they can know how to recognize his voice. And number 2, that they believe that they can change the world around them, that they don't have to be a victim, or that you can change who you are with God's help, you can change who you are and you can change the world around you.
Number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 431,910 people around the world?
Is that an acronym? The hug?
Yes. Hug stands
Sure.
for heartfelt, unlimited giving.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. And again, you're listening to The Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore. Our amazing guest, Jeffrey Harmon, one of the Harmon Brothers and the founders of Angel Studios, amplifying light to the world. Remember, you're here because you care the most in the entire world about you, which is great, because when you're the best you make the world a better place. You just heard you bring more joy, happiness, peace, and love, because you use the 3 fundamentals of life. Number 1, life. Your life is purpose. You lead a purpose-driven life. You go mad. MAD stands for make a difference. And number 3 is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. And the result is you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier in every aspect of life. And of course, WWW, what a wonderful world. Learn how to use SMILE. SMILE stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking. Listen to Jeffrey, rethinking, enabling all to excel. And when you do that, you'll be able to shift your perspective. Keep that F in place, shift your perspective, and you'll internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever know, which are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation, like the Harmon Brothers did, you'll determine your path in life and the trajectory. Use 4-letter words. Now remember, we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. So our 4-letter words are love, life, hope, free, play, gift, swim. And the 4-letter FU word, teach the world to F you, capital N, capital N. Have a twinkle in the eye, a smile on your face. You see that to your friend, say that to your friends and family. You'll get their attention. Then you can talk about, wow. Well, we learned today about learning how to become part of Angel Guild and determining what's happening in the world, never bemoaning, never complaining, because you're now in the engine. You're directing what media is all about, and it's upstream from culture. So I'm going to give a blessing, if I may, Jeffrey, from you and me. And that blessing is, go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Jeffrey, don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.
Fly.